Hello everybody. Once again, here today we're going to be talking about the large diameter hose, LDH. And initially we're going to go over some of the adapters that are going to be with this new package that's coming on all the trucks. So we'll go through each of these really quick, and then we'll go over some more explanation as the process goes on. So the very first one is our 5-inch Storks to the 2.5. It's a Siamese. What we got right here inside is our flapper valve. This purposes is for when we're usually doing relay pumping or boosting. We'll go over that a little bit later on. The actual 5-inch hose on the truck. Pre-connected right on the back of the 5-inch hose is going to be the hydrant adapter. If you notice, there's our Storks connection. This is our 4.5-inch hydrant connector for it. It's going to be attached onto the hose bed itself. So, but it can be taken off, placed on separately, and then connected afterwards. A hydrant bag. It'll be attached to the hose when we pull it off. Inside here, you're going to find 2 of these spanner wrenches for his large diameter hose. Also, 1 hydrant wrench. You'll notice there's a lively piece of webbing for girth hitch. It's going to be attached. It's a simple way to pull it off the rig. Our next others, 5-inch Storks to 2.5 firefighting threads. This is for connecting 3-inch or 2.5-inch. Five-inch Storks, 6-inch. This will be for front intakes or side connections on the rig. Primary use of this really is going to be on the front intake, on all the trucks that have that. A hose clamp, similar to what we already have on the rig, but guess what? It's large because we're dealing with large diameter hose. And then the actual perv valve. Each engine is going to have 2 of these, officer's and driver's side. Works pretty simple. Connects where the steamer connection is here. 5-inch can connect on the front end. And as you'll notice, we have open and close by simply turning the wheel. When we get it connected to the rig here in a little bit, in the next video, we'll show a little bit more information about how this operates. And then our hose that we actually are going to carry on the rigs. If you notice right here, we have a section of red. Every red hose that we carry on the fire district of the 5-inch moving forward is going to be 50-foot section. Both ends have our Storks. We do have some red indicators. Works very similar. When we line up the actual connection, the red lines will be there. These red lines are only located on the hose, not on the actual adapters. If you look into the hose bed, we have the yellow hose. Every section of yellow hose is 100 feet. So currently it's kind of slightly pulled out of the rig, but if you notice, that very first section is a 50-foot section. The truck's going to be set up very similar based on the configuration of that truck, but the first 50 feet is going to be a red section. And then it's going to continue on 100 foot, 100 foot, 100 foot, until, if you notice to the very far right, we got another red. There is 100 feet of red. So there's 2 sections of one to make up that 100 feet. What that's going to do is give you an ability to understand where you're at in the hose bed when you're doing a lay. You're at the halfway point by simply looking out the mirror. When you see that red hit the ground, you're at the halfway location. This particular other 50 feet that's right here now is going to be in the side compartment of the rig. So if you need that extra 50 feet, you need to connect to the hydrant. You're also going to have a 25-foot section located in the side compartment on the rig. So it gives you a little versatility, 25, 50, and or the 100-foot section. The biggest reason, think about it, this hose is heavy, it's very difficult to move around, and you're not going to be hand jacking 100-foot sections of 5-inch hose. So your option is going to be getting back to that 50-foot that you have in the rig to catch a hydrant or move water from point A to point B from engine to engine. Now, when it comes to the Storks connections, I'm going to use these 2 as just a demonstration. It's got the 2 big lugs. If you notice right on the inside, you got the opening in those lugs. They pretty much slip right together, and they turn in opposite direction. They're going to turn until you hear the click click of these 2 locks. To unlock them, it works in the reverse option. So think about it. I have to press one, somebody else has to press the other one, and we'll unlock it to the point and pops loose. Gaskets are a little bit similar to what we've had in the past, but if you notice there's a little difference. They're slightly flared up at the edges. So we're still checking to make sure our gasket is in place. And when these two screw into each other, they're only about a third of a turn. They lock into place, and that's what makes your watertight seal. All right, so right now we're going to talk about the side intake with the relief valve that's built in on here, the bleeder valve. This is the configuration that's attached to the truck. Simply goes right where the steamer connection was at. Can be easily removed in order to do drafting operations. We're not able to draft through this system, so if we are drafting using the hard suction, we'd have to disconnect this from whatever side we're going to utilize. Now when you look at this particular thing, it does have a bleeder valve right here on the right hand side of the device. Much like when we do any water movement, when we're doing a relay pumping, it has an open and close. We're actually set up, we're connected, we move this to the open position. All the air that's displaced to the hose that comes into this device before it enters into the pump, because this is in the closed position, will displace right out this lower opening. As it's displacing out the lower opening, all the air, once you start getting a full flow of water, simply close the bleeder, move it from the open position to the closed position. At this point in time, you're now ready to open your valve and to move water into the pump itself. On the top, there is an indicator of an open and closed. So as I go to start opening my device, the wheel starts turning. When it's in line, I'm at the open position. Vice versa if I need to close it in the same direction. Now this particular device does have an intake pressure relief valve, very similar to what's on the rig. This particular device, and if you notice all these numbers on the side, it's preset. There's nothing you as the user have to do. It's set to 150 PSI. So there's nothing you turn, nothing, it's already preset, locked into place. A couple other features on the front, you'll notice there's a locking mechanism right here on top. The benefit is this connection can free spin. Depending on the twist and what's going on, we always want this set in this position. If it's set in the lock position, it's going to drop into whatever pin location you put it at. The problem it's going to run into is we have this angle and the hose gets twisted in the wrong direction. It has nowhere to go. And once this hose is filled full of water, it's not going to move very easily at all. So we always want to keep in that unlocked position. It free spins. Now when we're making that connection, this kind of goes back to that once again, right? Our lugs are lugs. Connect, and as I turn, you should hear the two click. On this particular device, it does have the red line and it has a little arrow. They're in line, we're in the closed position. When I need to remove, I got to displace these two devices and then twist. This is a little difficult, one person. So in order to utilize this wrench, what we end up doing is we're going to grab that lug. As we press it back, if you notice what's it doing is applying pressure to that lock. Now I'm able to release the other lock with the other hand and then break it loose. If you're able to do it with your each hand, works just as effective.